McLennan County judge declaring a local state of disaster and public health emergency regarding prolonged freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and freezing rain. And so, Judge,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to act on it first. I know Elizabeth's on the call as well.
We could, I think, just before we act though, I think it would be good to get a report from Elizabeth and kind of give an update on the activities that her office and our office and several of the commissioners have been involved in. So, Elizabeth?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to start with kind of the background and talk about the things we've done and where we're going forward as we continue to go through the recovery process of this. So on Thursday, February 11th, McLennan County experienced the start of a once-in-a-decade winter weather event. We all remember the ice that started. That storm produced more than 6 inches of snow in some areas throughout McLennan County, produced some dangerously frigid conditions lasting for more than a week. On 2/14, McLennan County did issue our first original disaster declaration for those freezing conditions based on what we saw and what we knew was coming. I don't think any of us knew what was really coming, and we saw, and we've continued to battle through that. And so therefore, we've taken a lot of action since then in response to that winter weather event. The following actions were taken. We actually that afternoon met with all the EMCs across all of the jurisdictions in McLennan County to discuss the forecast, discuss our preparations, discuss the idea of warming centers. We had the feeling, with the frigid temperature drops, we were going to need to open some warming centers. And with that, warming centers were opened across McLennan County in different jurisdictions. I know, for example, Lorena opened one, Robinson, McGregor, West. All of our jurisdictions did step up in a time to help all of our citizens. For those that did lose their power, unfortunately, City of Waco opened up warming centers as well. A lot of that involved transportation, having water and food, supplies like that. For Waco, we had food and beverage donations, both by Coca-Cola and HEB to the warming centers. We had our volunteer organizations, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, the Heart of Texas Fire Corps. Many volunteers from our local community churches assisted with these centers, providing hours of effort to, tend to the people that were in our warming centers to keep them there, keep them safe, and provide any services that they needed. During this time, that kind of goes for like the warming center piece. During this time, we did make a lot of liaison with the Texas Division of Emergency Management daily on a wide range of topics. We discussed getting gallons of diesel fuel were delivered to the City of Waco water treatment plants. The City of Mart had put in a request. They had a warming center open, and we were able to connect them with the Texas Forest Service, and they were able to get water, juice, and other critical supplies after their local water system had failed out in the City of Mart. 3 water tenders with non-potable water were delivered for Waco Fire for fire suppression. So if any MOUs or anything like that needed to be acted on to lessen the burden of the Waco water supply. I know Belle Meade had some issues with their water, and Chief Summers had offered working those water tenders. If any of those needed to be directed to Belle Meade or any of our lying areas, we can make sure to partner with them. So we continue to liaison. The warming centers were our biggest activity, making sure we could take care of people who were without power. I experienced power loss myself. I know many of us probably did in some ways. And so making sure we could take care of our citizens to the best of our abilities. Our warming centers were open for anybody who needed a place to go during these times. Moving forward with this, now it's time to go through the recovery process. The ice is all gone and melted. We need to look through, what is our future? We're still in response in some ways. We have pipes that are still breaking and things like that we're going to have to work through. But our recovery is going to be focused on, 5 main categories: repair and restoration, plumbing, monetary, food and water, and emergency housing. But I think some bigger news that we need to talk about that, we did actually receive a FEMA disaster declaration on Saturday. That is a very big deal. As of 2/19, we did receive our declaration, and our county was designated for both public assistance category B and individual assistance public assistance category B, or for both individual assistance and public assistance. I would think a large credit of that is due to the fact that we did swiftly move to declare a disaster on 2/14. So okay. There were only 77 counties that did receive that in that original FEMA declaration. That makes a difference for us here. And so as we go through this process, we're going to need to continue with those recoveries and working through that, making sure, the state of Texas put out that individual damage assessment survey. We are going to need to make sure we really push that information to have those businesses and individuals filling out that survey to produce an accurate picture to the state of what happened here in McLennan County. What has happened? What can we do to document all those damages, the associated costs, pictures, receipts, invoices, making sure that we are eligible and making sure we promote our eligibility to the federal government and the state. And so with the FEMA disaster declaration, individuals and business owners can begin applying for assistance by registering online at www.disasterassistance.gov or by calling 1-800-621-3362. That's kind of the start. But again, the push is definitely going to be to get people to do that individual damage assessment survey. Whew, sorry, it's a lot of information. I want to make sure I hit everything that we're going through right now. So, a big part of this is going to be food and water, kind of like I mentioned earlier. So the city of Waco was able to secure a big donation from Coca-Cola for bottled water. We were able to assist the city of Mart with that donation, giving about 10 pallets to the city of Mart. And then today, a FEMA trailer has arrived with water. We have 18 pallets with 900 cans per pallet of water. And so our plan is going to be working with the commissioner at the court here to distribute that water to your areas that are in need. And so we're going to need to work through that to make sure that we are supplying all citizens of McLennan County that do not have water with these cans of water that we have received from FEMA. FEMA is also supposed to deliver us a 18-wheeler full of MREs. That has not arrived yet, but we are anticipating that arrival. They will let us know whenever that is heading our way. That is all I have right now. I think those are kind of the high points I wanted to make sure we're hit on for today's court meeting.
Okay, and HEB, I'm working with them right now for additional water. They actually ran out of water. They've been very generous to the extent they were able to meet the demand. And so I've requested another two trailer loads, 2 truckloads. And they said they couldn't give me any promises, but we're kind of getting out of this, but still there's areas like Mart and then some rural water systems that are still haven't been able to catch up to their demand of water. Mart specifically, where they got part of their water transfer going, it was getting used up quicker than it could get into the town to the customers in between Mart and water plant, which is probably 4 or 5 miles. They think by Tuesday or Wednesday they will be up and running. Axtell Water had a lot of problems. I talked to Fred Kubica, who is the manager of the EOL water supply that also works with Axtell to keep them connected and going. And he's told me that most of the systems are at least working to a certain extent. And if we can, if people won't use an excessive amount of water, they'll be able to catch up in that storage. Similarly, in city of Waco, they got down into almost single-digit percentage of capacity in their water. And since then, it's been coming back up. And I think they're probably in the 30 to 40% range today. But, the request for conservation of water specifically to laundromats and car washers and then them contacting the industrial customers and then cities they contract with to cut their usage back has helped them to get to the levels they are right now. It was close to being really disastrous if there would have been another fire. It had been questionable whether they could have got enough water there for that. But hopefully we're seeing the end of it. We have another front coming in, but it's not going to be very bad, it looked like. So we're just kind of in the aftermath right now. Dustin,
Judge, I think that covers it. Just want to point out that the supplemental order you had issued on the 19th does expire tomorrow at noon. It'd be noon on Monday, and that was for the laundromats and car washes, so that will still expire tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, and I don't see any need to extend that. The way we're catching up, and I say that after talking to the cities that were getting behind on water, and so now as far as I know, and I reached out to most all of them, that MART is the only one in the catch-up phase now, and then some rural water systems and the city of Waco. But so there's not the city of Waco does not see any need to extend the order for them either on conservation car washes and laundromats. So haven't heard a lot of complaints, and there were some exemptions, and they were justified. Only a few, and I think the communities kind of work together to get through all this. I guess at this point, on the disaster declaration, continuation of disaster declaration, Dustin, if you would read that, please.
Yes, sir. So continuation of disaster declaration for McLennan County. Whereas the McLennan County judge issued a disaster declaration on February 14th, 2021 due to extremely dangerous winter weather and prolonged freezing temperatures. And whereas due to ongoing issues related to the winter weather and prolonged freezing temperatures, there is a need to extend this disaster declaration. Now, therefore, be it ordered by County Judge Scott M. Felton and the Commissioners Court of McLennan County, Texas, under the authority of Texas Government Code Section 418.108 and other law, one, that a local state of disaster is hereby declared for and in McLennan County, Texas, effective immediately and is extended hereby. Two, that the state of disaster under this order shall continue until March 2nd, 2021, unless continued or renewed by the McLennan County Commissioners Court. Three, that this order shall become effective immediately. Four, that the county must promptly provide notice of this order by posting it on the county website and by filing it with the county clerk. Ordered on this the 21st day of February 2021, being the effective date.
Okay, any questions? Any questions about this or any of the other comments? Yes, sir, Commissioner Smith.
First of all, Dustin, the judge said this will not or will include laundromats and car washes.
It will not. This goes back to extending our original order and
Okay.
not the supplemental order.
Okay. And then secondly, has anyone considered the negative effect we're going to receive from schools starting back up tomorrow? Probably most of them. I noticed Killeen has canceled schools till Wednesday because of concerns about water supply. Do we know what the small suppliers, water suppliers and school districts out in some of those areas, how that's going to impact them with schools starting back?
Well, if they have a shortage of water, it could in those specific areas, and I would assume they would accommodate. And the only one that I'm aware of is, or the two would be MART Independent School District and Axtell. And I think Axtell will be able to operate. And I talked to Mayor Williams this morning, and he didn't indicate that there would be any other disruptions, that he thought they would be catching up. The kind of one thing too is I think there was some damage in some of these schools with the fire suppressant sprinklers, and so they may have other issues associated with the freeze that's not necessarily tied to the supply of water. It's more, breakage. I think even the new school at MART might have had a little bit. They caught it early though. They hadn't even been in that school yet, and there was some fire suppressant piping that had broke. So there could be some of that, but I'm not aware of anything else.
Okay. So it won't have a negative impact on their amount of water, their water supply. The schools kicking back off tomorrow then.
As far as I know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So we execute this so that we're eligible for federal money. federal and state money.
Yes, and Elizabeth can give, it allows, puts the emergency management plan into effect and continues that. It allows procurement, different methods for procurement. There are certain benefits by enacting the disaster declaration and continuing it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is just the start of what we're seeing. So we're going to be going through that recovery process. And like Dustin mentioned, those procurements, water conservation is as necessary. And the fact that the incident period for the state is still ongoing and active is the recommendation for continuing with this disaster declaration.
Okay, any other questions? And I think you have to have a certain amount of claims before you actually can get any federal funding. And it's based on the population. It's like $3.40 a person or something like that.
$3.89 per capita. So population times 3.89.
Yeah. So Commissioner Jones, you might recall west, there were certain areas that, we were barely getting there, but finally did. Yeah. Okay. If there's not any other questions or comments, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Okay, Dustin, anything else?
No, sir, that covers it. And do just want to clarify again that the supplemental order will still expire tomorrow at noon.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Elizabeth, for coming on.
Of course.
All right. If there's not anything else, well, we stand adjourned. Thanks so much.